we have, first up is going to be the relegation. Those 2 games. So the bottom 4 teams will be throwing down to see who gets relegated down to the Challengers division, and then after that, we're going to see the Challengers, and we're going to find out who's going to bump up and who's going to be playing in the finals. So it's going to be pro relegation for the first 2 games. Then the Challengers are going to have their matchups, and then we're going to head into the divisional finals, and we're going to see divisions 1 through 4, see who's going to win those. And that's the thing, man. You're watching the best paintball players on the planet Earth throwing down here in the Champs and Challengers division, but surrounding us are a multitude of fields with just dozens and dozens and dozens of teams, really good teams from around the world, also trying to win these divisions. So again, get in the fight, man. Go to pspevents.com, register your team. Definitely want to register early for Chicago. It's probably going to sell out. This event sold out. First event in Dallas sold out. So yeah, man, and then we're going to see who's actually going to win this tournament, man. I can't wait to see it. All right, so beautiful day here, OXCC Paintball Park in Chesapeake City, Maryland. Before we sign off, let's check out the highlights for the day.
And here we have the Russians, Michael Kovar stepping over the inside, running down the highway on poor Osvaldo Brito Neto Lopez, who got bunkered several times this weekend.
Yeah, he was making his spots, Todd, but just getting shot out of there. And then also a lot of times he'd be the last player left alive getting run down, just like we saw Kovar doing to him right there.
Yeah, definitely one of those situations. But Osvaldo got payback as he came in here and said, hey, Michael Kovar, you may beat us, but I am going to get you at least one time. And here comes the reverse angle. Osvaldo comes in. Super nice guy, just shot Kovar one time. Dove into the back, able to preserve his life. And then the Russians went on to beat CEP.
Yeah. Well, again, and everyone's, with the way that this new format works, it adds such a huge immediacy to the game. And, Houston Heat, they struggled this event, as we saw Smith running down there when they played Impact. But Impact ended up winning that game 5-2.
Yeah, Impact, they looked pretty good today, except for that last game when they got a bunch of penalties there at the end. Played a couple really long points against Dynasty. Here's Dizon, who actually played pretty well.
Yeah,
the whole
Dizon played
weekend.
great. Dizon's really been stepping it up, man. If they can get, they finally got their starters, the Russians, to play well for them towards the end of the event. But, with Heat's success story from 2012 really was the full team contribution. But a lot of the guys, with role players coming in, but they were getting such production last year out of that starting 5 guys.
Yeah, and here's Fedorov right now. Fedorov going to jump over the snake for Houston Heat. And I think this is where he gets airborne. Comes over, bunkers the player out. Pantaleev walks off, and Fedorov, Air Moscow.
Let's watch it from the opposite angle here.
Here he comes.
Let's
we have
see
liftoff.
Trying to stay alive, but ended up getting clipped.
And here's Ronnie Dizon again. When you end up in the highlight reel a couple times, probably actually had a pretty good game. There's a good game right there by Dizon, who comes and bunkers out Kovar, then lives all the way at the end of the snake.
Oh, and this was remember that fill by Fedorov? It's so creative. Even when things are going bad, he's always still looking, okay, well, how can I positively impact this game? He was able to get out wide in that particular point.
Here was a good one by Alex Frage when he came in and bunkered out Moorhead and kept his body alive in a really, really tight point right there between Impact and Dynasty. Alex Frage, out of nowhere, if you blinked your eye, you probably missed it. Came in and bunkered out Moorhead. Here's Justin Rabakov for Impact. As he came into the backside, he got clipped coming in. Says what? He drew a penalty on that play right there. Not much of a highlight for him, but
yeah.
He's one of those players that usually ends up on this reel anyway. So
yeah, having a good year though. Justin Rabakov's definitely having a good year. Struggled last season with Tampa Bay Damage, but really finding a home here in Impact and coming in right away and contributing. And he was one of the G count leaders from Dallas, but frustrated about that one. And here was Justin Cornell. And that's the thing with Impact, and one of the reasons that they are favored, or one of the favorites to win this event. You'd have to say that, well, I don't know, Damage after this last game, but absolutely Impact, Dynasty, looking really good. Let's look at it from this other side. Justin Cornell. Actually, this is when Impact started falling apart here. Remember?
Yeah, when they started getting a ton of penalties.
But that game was closer than it seemed. And then we head into the Challengers division, and Olsvik with a solid move from Thunder.
Coming down, making a move on a Sacramento DMG player.
Yeah, and SAC DMG, you know, they got a couple old school pros on that team in Brian Duffy and Shane Howe. And really leading that squad. That's Dave Baines' baby over there, too. You know, Dave Baines and DMG are coming out of Sacramento and out of Capital Edge Paintball just outside of Sacramento.
Yeah, there's Dixon Yang right there for X Factor, coming across along the snake side. Runner and getting himself a bunker move against Keith Brown of Tampa Bay Damage.
Yeah, Keith Brown getting a lot of reps for Damage. You know, Skinny Kevin, the coach for that team, definitely getting him in the mix a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, he produces. You know, he's really fast. He gets to his spots. There's Randy Stanzak getting bunkered out of that Dorito 1.
Yeah,
he was pretty effective today. That looks like Colt Roberts.
Yeah, it was Colt Roberts. Getting lost in the shadows and emerging to devastate Randy Stanzik. But wasn't enough as Damage ended up taking that victory. Looking at, again, I think this might be the same play. No, and then switching over here. Brian Smith, excellent run through down that highway. We've seen that a lot, you know, guys just dumping over. It's become pretty standard for this particular field layout because that's the launching point. Not a lot of guys running down the sidelines. You're looking at it again from this angle here. Smith dropping the hammer on Bernaccia. You know, and Billy, in that game, X Factor was struggling, but Bernaccia was stepping up. You know, Bernaccia was one of the only guys really contributing until the very end. And then Damian Ryan, man, I'm so impressed by Damian Ryan's level of play here. Really, you know, he has completely found a sixth gear. And you can see there, and look at Nicky Cuba.
Yeah, Damian Ryan, he found that sixth gear last year. You know, he believed in himself. And, you know, I think that's the first step in being able to, you know, crank that sixth gear is believing that you have it. You know, and Damian
Absolutely.
Ryan, you know, he puts in the work off the field. And, you know, he's dedicated to paintball. You know, he goes out there, he works really hard at the field, and he believes in himself. You know, and it's you know, everybody, you know, he's like kind of like a Lasoya sometimes, you know, like kind of cocky, but he deserves it because he's that good out there on the field, and that gives him that edge.
And
but inside, he's just a huggy, snuggly, cute
snuggly bear?
teddy bear.
All right, so let's check out the schedule for tomorrow, starting bright and early, 8 o'clock. We have the Champions Relegation A, and then at 8:50, Champions Relegation B. We're going to find out who will be losing and heading down to the Challengers Division. And we got to Challenger Semis A, and then Challenger Semi B heading in to play. And then the champions, we're going to find out who's going to be heading to the finals. Those semis get thrown down. And then the divisional finals starting at 1:45 in the afternoon. And then at 4:05 and 4:55, the champions and challengers finals. So, man, it's going to be exciting no matter what. It always is. So thank you guys for tuning in here. 2013 PSP Mid-Atlantic Open. I'm Matty Marshall with Todd Martinez. And on behalf of all of our broadcast crew, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure, spread the paintball gospel. Like Paintball Access on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And we will see you guys bright and early tomorrow.